My name is Mark Ballard, and my spring sprint submission is talking about nurturing future leaders with a positive attitude and good training. George Bernard Shaw wrote, "It is best to keep yourself clean and bright, for you are the window through which you see the world." What does this quote mean to me? It means that I have to work and do the right things when achieving my goals. It will afford me the opportunity to see the success in other people's as the result of the work and effort that they put into achieving their goals. It keeps me focused and having a positive attitude in the daily situations in which I encounter. As a leader with SCENTSY, I deal with all kinds of people. How do we develop our team when we have no authority as leaders? There's no laws, there's no regulations, there's no stipulations that says, as a director, I can order you, direct you, command you, or expect you to do certain things or have certain outcomes. Leadership in SCENTSY is very simple. It's a title. It's a title that is earned through our work. It's earned through our sales. It's earned through our recruiting efforts. But most importantly, it is earned through our service to our downlines. So why do we want to develop future leaders within our teams? Well, one, it increases our profit. Yep, when your teams grow, when your teams thrive, when your teams are successful, so does your bottom line. It's all about the little bit of the money. But more importantly, when we recruit people in SCENTSY, we have the obligation to train them, to develop them, and to help them achieve their goals and dreams through their SCENTSY journey, just as we are experiencing our successes in achieving the goals in our own personal SCENTSY journeys. I've served this country for almost 22 years. Over the last 13 years, I've had the honor to train many young men and women to be leaders in the United States Army, and some of those leaders have led others into harm's way. Today, I'm not here to talk about different types of leadership or different types of authorities, but I want to share with you 3 things that you can do to develop your teams by being a good leader. I want to talk about having a positive mental attitude. I want to establishing expectations that your teams know the basics. And I wanted to share with you some secrets on how you can train others and be a leader of influence within your teams. Positive mental attitude. Okay, first thing, let's address the white elephant in the room. We do not need nitpicky, backstabbing, nitnoid, catty atmospheres in our teams. Those types of behaviors create hostile and intimidating environments for people who truly want to focus on learning the business and growing their business. Fighting amongst team members, talking about other members behind their back, complaining about what other people did to have their successes, or talking about other team members when they have their failures is not positive and productive for our teams. As a leader, you have to ensure that you accept only positive attitudes amongst your team members. Whether it's your Facebook pages, whether it's in your team meetings, whether it's just one-on-one conversations with your other team members. You can't be negative. You have to appreciate the things that your team is doing in order to grow and thrive their businesses. And you have to expect, and you cannot tolerate other team members being trivial and resentful for the things that other people have. It just creates a bad atmosphere, and it's not positive for the group. The second thing with a positive attitude, be authentic. See others' accomplishments for what they are, the results of the hard work and planning that they put into achieving those goals. And when people don't necessarily meet those goals and that they've had a failure, keep it positive. Be authentic. Explain to them some things that they could have done different, but find the things that they did succeed and talk about, the things that they did right. There's always room for improvement. We continue to grow. We continue to try new ways to promote our businesses and to make sales. Nothing is wrong, of course, unless it's out of compliance, but encourage people to grow and learn from their mistakes. Be authentic. It's the core and probably one of the most important of the 3 SCENTSY values that we have. Find the good. And lead by example. Don't accept anything less. If you can't show your people through your actions and through your deeds on what they need to do to be good leaders and maintain a positive attitude in any situation that they may face, you're not living up to your obligation as a leader. Positive attitudes are infectious. When you have a positive attitude, when you expect nothing but positive attitudes from your team members, it will drive them to do the right things and succeed. It will help them reach their goals. Everybody needs a little encouragement. Everybody needs a little cheerleader. So keep a positive attitude. Do you know that your attitude is an expression of your values, your beliefs, and your expectations? And if you foster a negative attitude, the outcomes from your actions are going to be obvious. Your successes are going to be harder, if not non-existent, and it will all be the result of the negative attitude that you possess. Growing leaders is all about attitude. Leadership is about influence, and influence is the result of relationships. And if you can't keep a positive attitude and build open relationships that allow you to mentor others in your teams, you're not going to succeed. Have you heard the old expression, monkey see, monkey do? Okay, if your team sees you being positive, it will make them feel positive, and they will go forth and do positive things. 5 rules I want to talk about really quick in staying positive. Okay? When you face a negative situation, control your initial response. Take a deep breath, count to 10. Yes, okay, it's not an intervention. But don't just reply with the first emotional outburst that you have. Control your response. When you do have a negative situation, learn from it. Look at the past negative situations you've had and identify something that helped you learn, helped you grow, helped you mature. The third thing, admit when you make mistakes. Everybody makes them, and a lot of people are more accepting and more forgiving when you say, hey, you know what? I messed up. I made a mistake. I said something that was wrong. And correct the point there. It just basically addresses that white elephant in the room and doesn't give anybody a reason to be negative about it. You made a mistake. You admitted to it. You did what you needed to correct it. The fourth thing, accentuate the positive. Try to find the silver lining in any dark cloud in which you happen to be walking through that day. Okay? Remember, things can always be worse. And the last rule to staying positive is affirm the positive. Buy in. Get others to agree to the positive approach and that it is the right approach. Don't let them dwell on the negative. Don't let them dwell on a perceived failure. Get them to identify something that was good and get them to agree that, yeah, you know what, this wasn't as bad or as terrible as I thought it really could have been. The second point I want to talk about is fostering the expectations that you must know the basics. When you have those young recruits that are starting to develop their own teams and they want to be leaders, they cannot be running to you for answers to all their questions. Okay? Know the basics. This includes how to sell the products, how to get bookings, how to coach the hostess, how to go out and recruit, and it even addresses compliance issues. Focus on what consultants must do to be successful. You cannot grow people to be leaders if you are always providing basic answers for them. Hey, we have one of the most awesome consultant guides that I have ever seen out there. It walks you through step to step on how to build a successful business. If you use that consultant guide and you train your new consultants to use that guide and develop their knowledge of how to run their SCENTSY business, you can't fail. But once you start teaching new consultants, establish that expectation that they need to understand and they need to know the basics. It's like being a soldier. If you don't know the basics, you don't know how to move, you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to fire your weapon, how effective are you in helping your team achieve its mission? You've got to know the basics. The most important thing, though, is if your consultants, your team, know the basics, it establishes individual credibility. It builds individual confidence, and it builds the willingness for them to go forward and build their teams and become the leaders that they need to be. It's good training. But expect that they take the training and they apply it. It's also a filter. When you have emerging leaders, they will share what they know with others. If you expect them to know the basics, they will expect their teams to know the basics. And they will go out and they will ensure that they are training their teams and they are identifying their future leaders as well. The last point I want to talk about is how to become a leader of influence. It's really about establishing realistic goals. It's about listening to what your team members are saying, what their needs are, and identifying what you can do to help them along their journey. I'm going to share a secret with you. My secret to being a leader of influence is very selfish. I go out and I learn the things that I need to learn in order to become more successful. In order to become a better instructor, I went out and learned how to facilitate more groups. I went out and I read books about developing training and strategies for developing training. I was very selfish in the information that I obtained. I went out and developed myself to be better and to be that person, that instructor, that leader that I wanted to be. But once you've done that, share it. Go out to your future leaders. Show them the things that you've learned. Talk about the things that you've learned. And help them take the initiative to learn and apply the skills that you have to be a better leader to helping themselves become a better leader. Once they are applying those skills and developing themselves as a leader, the third part of becoming a leader of influence is share a vision with them. Share a vision with your team, and this will help you achieve your goals. It will help them establish their goals and achieve their goals that support your team as well. It's all about building the team. It's all about taking the initiative and growing and developing and nurturing. We could talk so much about different types of books, different stories we can read, things that we can do, attributes of being a leader. But honestly, in order to develop your leaders, you need to maintain a positive attitude. You need to provide them good training. You need to ensure that your team is trained and are expected to know the basics of the business as they develop. And then finally, you have to help them become leaders of influence. You go out and learn the skills that you need to be a better leader. You help your team members apply those skills in developing themselves a better leader, and then you help them create a vision. Create a vision that is going to force them to go out and grow their teams, become better leaders, to help others succeed in their goals and establish those teams that we have. Thank you.